Owen, massive 3 points. Don't give it that. You sitting there with me thinking, oh, not going to win.
You've got to go on the roller coaster of emotions, Fleck, and that's what we've gone on today. Come on. I tell you what, KG's right. You've got to believe.
You have to keep believing.
You have to believe, and the difficult thing is, like, second half, let's call it a spade, but we were rubbish. Like, second half, we were terrible. Like, we didn't do really anything. It comes back to what happens if you miss chances. Got to take your chances. We didn't take chances, but guess what? I don't care.
It is one of them. But this team, so then it's not luck. This team manages to there are some times where we lose heavily. Mm-hmm. Those little blips that we keep saying were going to happen, and it's weird that there's like 4 of them. They're just over there. But the rest is like we always manage to bounce back or show some fight though, and make one last chance. That's a good trait.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not. And this is the thing, we do make chances. Yeah. We could have won that game 4-1 today. And I think that's the reason why you and I were so frustrated and so annoyed in that second half, was because it was like, we should be clear at this point. It's clear, eh? We should be clear, eh? That's what it should have been. And it'll go back to, you've got to be more clinical. Chance creation is not an issue for us. Defending is not an issue for us. Fulham deserved their goal today. They played really well. They obviously feel really hard done by. But we are creating chances. It's just a case of putting them away. And that's the difference. And someone like Alejandro Garnacho is putting them away. He's scoring goals. He's getting assists. And, I mean, what a way to go into this mini break now, because I always say this about results. People don't care about performances 2-3 weeks from now. All they'll remember is we won. Yeah. That's all people remember today. We won.
Well, look back at the games like Southampton 1-0, Leicester 1-0. Those were games that were in the lead up to the Arsenal game, I remember. Then we beat Arsenal 3-1. It was like, again, it's only about the result and putting the points on the board. And as we get to it, this break now, with 3 points off top 4, with a game in hand, of course, we don't want to get into game in hand's fine. It's against Palace whenever it's going to be played. It's a tough away game. So let's just talk about the points we've got. But we're 3 points behind top 4. Yeah. Against with a Chelsea team that's not very good. They're in and around it. Okay, Newcastle doing their thing. Yeah. Spurs, they're doing what we're doing, but we're doing it in a nicer way. Just kind of hanging in there, maybe not getting the goals you deserve, but, you look at it and say, we're better than them. Yeah. So, we're in there. We're where we want to be.
We're in that conversation. We're in that point when it comes to top 4. And before the season, you and I, how many shows did we sit on going, don't know, And now it's still going to be really touch and go between the end of the season. We're still going to have games like today, but the important thing is that we're getting through them. The important thing is that we are scoring goals and we do have that resiliency and we do have that feeling that we're always going to create a chance. It's not the first time we scored in the last minute this season. We did it in Europa League. We did it in the Premier League today. So that resilience does build up and that belief does spread, not just to the fans, but to the players and to the opposition players as well. Historically, for Manchester United, it always was, well, they're going to score. They're going to score. And as fans, as players and as opposition, they probably didn't believe that the last few years or for the last decade, they're not going to score because they don't. Now it's a case of, well, they might.
Can't switch off against Man United,
You cannot switch off. So again, in an ideal world, it wouldn't keep getting to this because you would take your chances. It's one thing to have a last-minute goal because the opposition team, they defended so well, they've been resilient the whole time, and they've had a low block, and United have been knocking at the door. Today, it was our own making. We could have had our own downfall today because you've got to take chances.
Was it? So we did, and like you said about the last-minute thing, and then there's kind of little, things with the Garnacho goal and the Ronaldo one. They kind of just played that as well. Right. Not exactly the same goal, but was there a little bit of like vintage United in today? Like a bit of look at the players there. How many times were these players here involved in games where might not play particularly well? Yeah. Keep going, 90th minute, goal. Other team gets nothing, and they go home thinking, how do we have nothing? How?
Exactly. And you don't remember those performances.
No, we just see them players there. Like,
all you count is trophies and results. Yeah. That's all people care about. So Erik ten Hag will be very happy. Alejandro Garnacho, I said it a couple of weeks ago when he played against Sheriff and when he scored against Real Sociedad. The difference now, I think, is that when Ten Hag turns to his bench during the game, earlier on in the season, he turned to his bench and he said, I'm not sure I'm going to bring those on because I don't know what they're capable of. Can I trust him? He can trust him. And that's massive. And of course, it's not just him. Other individuals you would talk about. You talk about Christian Eriksen, gets his first goal for United, should have had another one. He does the pass at the end. That's a key thing as well. It's those players that have that composure. We talk about composure in front of goal. Sometimes it's the composure to find the pass. We spoke about that with United, the late goals over the years. It's having those players that have that composure to go, wait a minute, I'm going to stop.
Yeah.
I'm going to see what's available. I'm going to wait for time to stand still. There will be a player that's making the right run. And there was. Garnacho still has a ton to do. But having people like Eriksen, that's a difference as well. He's a difference maker. Garnacho, he's a difference maker. So whilst, again, at points today it was frustrating, who cares? Who cares? We got the win. And Fulham are a good side as well.
We always knew it would be tough. When we spoke to Jack on from Fulhamish, big up Jack as well. Go and check out his reaction to this. I'm sure he'd be absolutely fuming, actually. I think I saw my phone with Jack at the top saying, I just saw loads of exclamation marks. I don't know how angry he is. But check out his channel. But he said, this is a free hit for us, but we give anyone a good game. We compete. It was City last minute, they lost against. Man United, they lost against last minute. Arsenal came from behind at the Emirates to beat them. Liverpool lost there at the Cottage. So Fulham have proved it. You know what I mean? And that's without Alexander Mitrovic as well. So they will feel hard done by. And that's why today's even more of an impressive result.
Yeah, other teams have gone to Craven Cottage and not got a result this season, right? And come the end of the season again, they won't care about performances. It will just matter about results. So that's the important thing. It's the important thing to still be in that top 4 race. And it's going to be a bit like last season in the sense of that 4th spot or that 3rd spot. There's a bunch of teams there that are quality, but really inconsistent. The team that manages to have some consistency is going to get it. And what we are seeing, I think United so far this season is started the season terribly. Now we're in this break period. Actually, since that sloppy start, we've been all right. We're not bad.
How do we keep?
We're okay.
Not how do we do it actually, but how impressive is it that when we have these little blips, so like Villa last week, then before that it would have been City. Wow, that feels ages ago. Yeah. So, before that it was Brentford. Those little things that happen, but in between each one of those, so after Brentford we got down all the way up to City, got smashed at City, then went all the way up to Aston Villa, and then after Aston Villa, 1-2 on the bounce. How good is that?
I think that's the thing is that, and you can't take the first 2 games out of it because they happened. But we started with a handicap, essentially. That's really what it was. We started off giving people 6 points, and then we had to fight back from that. Yeah. And again, if you do take those 2 games out of it, you would go, actually, for a first half of the season, it's not bad. Anyone can go to City and get smashed, and the performance on the day was really disappointing. But since then, the teams we've played, we've got results. And even the games we have dropped points against good sides, by the way, Chelsea, Newcastle, you look back on them, and again, you would say what you said today. If we were clinical, we could have won that game. Yeah. Chelsea at Stamford Bridge should have been 3-0 up. Newcastle at Old Trafford should have won it 2-0. So it goes back to actually things aren't that bad. And today proved it. Yes, we make it difficult for ourselves, but if we can just again settle, get some composure in front of goal, we're all right.
Who's your man of the match?
I've seen a lot of people saying Garnacho, and maybe that's just the recency effect of him scoring the goal. I'd probably say Christian Eriksen. I think he gets his goal, he finds the pass. It's one thing for the player to do a lot and score the goal, which Garnacho did. It's another to find the pass, and I think he did fantastic. And shout out David De Gea, because it's not possible to win the game if you've conceded 3 goals. And David De Gea made big saves, as he always does.
Make sure we didn't concede 3 goals. There you go.